Listen.
Cumulonimbus. Message. Tornado.
Real. Practice.
Break. Protest. Attack.
Impressed.
Brave.
English.
Engage.
England.
English.
English.
Terrified. Gloomy.
Accepted.
Shine. Scream. Surface. Country.
Die. Raised.
Cry. Universe. Opinion.
Music isn't music if you only hear the words. The message falls on deaf ears and nobody learns. Music isn't music if you only hear the words. The message falls on deaf ears and nobody learns. I had forgotten about the cats. I had forgotten about my witnesses. When I was little and my family had 3 cats, noise would come up as an issue very often. With my brother and I, there were 2 annoying, screaming toddlers in the house, and one day, my mom told me that cats can hear everything. She said, "Don't make those loud noises. Cats have really good hearing, and it hurts when you're that loud." I asked her, "How much can cats hear?" And she said, "If you can hear you, cats can hear you." Now that's not necessarily true, but I've always considered cats to be listening. Not in a malicious way, but not exactly as guardian angels either. They're my witnesses, to see my failures and my successes. Every time I sing a song, or yell across the room, or whisper to a friend. I know the cats can hear me. The cats are fair. They won't let unjust things happen to me. They can hear the screams that pierce the quiet. The child shrieks and kicks, insisting that they are not loved. And every day it gets closer to the truth. The barriers and walls being shattered, and safety no longer an option. They can hear the quiet, the dull sound of nothing, of not saying things that need to be said. Everyday interactions, my personality is no longer a constant. It becomes a mirage, shimmering and shifting to suit whoever sees. A perfect version of what they'd want me to be, like a never-ending job interview. Describe yourself in 3 words, as they say. That is an impossible feat. They can hear the nails clicking and tapping against the keyboard, the teeth grinding, the sound of a friend once trusted and loved, of a friend who would ask for far too much and never give back, of a friend who would blame and hit and guilt, a friend who has no business being in your life, a friend you wish you could forgive, if only just to move on. But you can't. Things have been going downhill lately, in more ways than one. One night, I just couldn't take it. I walked out of my house in my pajamas with my shoes on sockless feet. I didn't go far. We lived close to my school, so I went and I sat in the soccer field. After a few moments, I saw a cat. I recognized it as a very skittish cat from our complex. This cat hated being around people. Yet here it was, in this soccer field, middle of the night. It was then that I remembered everything I once believed about the cats listening, about the cats making sure that nothing unjust would befall me. Remembering something so instrumental to the shaping of who you were in your formative years, it can make everything else become clear. The personality I've chosen is not mine, but a typecast clown, a mediocre excuse. But now it's all I have. The idea of who I am is not fixed. I run away from who I am, and that's not okay. Nobody made me this way. I can't be who I was. The cats are probably sad to see me become something smaller. The cats are probably sad.
Cumulonimbus. I've learned all about cumulonimbus clouds and warm air masses, but I still don't know how tornadoes work.
I was raised to run away from my fears, but they've only caught up now.
I wonder what it feels like to be in a tornado.
She's on the beach walking. She feels so good. The warm wind comforts, the sound of waves calming. Enjoying life. Suddenly, a big, thick cloud covers the sun. Everything becomes dark. She sees a big, swirling wind in the middle of the sea. It is a tornado. She panics. It comes closer and closer and closer. She's scared now. She stands still for a minute, shocked. Then she begins to run in every direction. She keeps asking herself, in which direction should I run? If she goes right, will the tornado follow her? What happens if she runs? Will she be able to make it out alive? When will it disappear? These thoughts keep swirling in her head while she's running. She doesn't know what to do or where to run. She just keeps running. The feeling of confusion and fear fuse inside her. This is a time in which Dutch colonizers take over the land. An indigenous Indonesian girl whose family is respected, even by the colonizers, is very sad. Her family was poor. Her father developed a business, and to their surprise, it was a huge success. She was happy. She could buy things she couldn't before and eat things she wanted to. After all that happiness, her friend became distant with her. An Indonesian girl teased her. She said that this girl is the daughter of traitors because of her father's close relationship with the colonizers. She falls in love with the son of a colonizer. The girl is given a choice. She must either leave her country and move to his land or say goodbye to him and stay in a country that she loves. Her land is so beautiful. Her decision feels impossible. How can she stay in her land while with the boy she loves? She doesn't know what to do. She's confused.
Scream. If you had slowed down and listened, maybe you would hear me scream in sheer silence.
Instead of feeling accepted, I feel like an exception.
Talk to me. Listen. Words. They can only mean so much. But my heart, endless. Listen.
No, my English isn't that good. It's years of accrued and crude misunderstandings.
China. It was everything. It was my home. Now, it's where I was born, but I'm not too sure if it's home anymore. Lunar New Year's Eve, my favorite time of year. Beep, beep, red light flashes. The messy mechanism imprints a small golden tag on the box. When I moved to Canada, my values and morals changed. They don't fit in with those that China taught me. Young and old, big and small, family members gather around the round table in my grandparents' dining room, ready to dig into the full-course meal. Beep! Beep! Made in China. I'm uprooted, plucked out of my safe, broken blue and white porcelain from rural southeast China into the strange world of North America. My mom places a lot of effort in getting all of us to eat together. With our lives becoming increasingly busy, the dinner table is a singular place where our lives overlap. I drag myself away from whatever I'm doing and sit down at the rectangular wooden table. Few things stayed constant. For others, I had to adapt. My sun-kissed, delicate body shivered. My sensitive skin crumpled in the cold, clammy air of the West Coast, made me self-conscious as if spelling out, I'm new, and I really don't belong. I'm greeted by my little sister Flora, who's 4.5. She walked up to me one day in her childish dancing steps and told me, you have 100 names. I was puzzled and asked, why? Because. She looked at me as if it was the most obvious thing in the world. Sometimes I'm Everest from the kids' cartoon, Paw Patrol. And on other days, Clack seems to be a personal favorite. The atmosphere is tense with pressure, closing in on all sides. I grasped with all my might. Eventually, my body adapted to the humidity and the cold. Sunlight doesn't seem to be the most important thing in my life anymore. Phyllis, my baby sister, who's 1.5, is learning to speak. She often bugs me way before dinner time. I am working on something at my desk, and she comes over and plays or talks. Phyllis manages to get herself into my rain boots. Which goes all the way up her thighs, at the same time drawing my attention onto a tiny moon on the book. At the dinner table, she had recently entered into a phase of, no, that other one. It's exhausting watching my mom trying to get her to eat anything but chocolates or sweets. Though I seem to be well protected against strong winds, floods, and other hazards, I'm worried that my roots will rot. becoming this unintelligible mix, losing who I am. I'm worried that creatures will crawl all over me, not trusting my roots to anchor me down against their destruction. I represent the future. My parents are an awkward mix of the China of their past and the present. On the rare occasions in which my sisters are eating peacefully and she can finally breathe, I talk to my mom. Ma, what are you going to do if I bring a boyfriend home? Defying all stereotypes of Asian parents, she said, Huh? 你们可以出去，人来了我还得整理房间。You guys can go out. I'm not cleaning the house. This will be a story that I'll tell my children one day. I miss the warm, muddy rain, the bright sunlight, and the old turtle that swims lazily in the mud-colored pond. I was used the way it was in my broken porcelain. I miss the mouth-watering Hakka Chinese food and my old friends. However, those that I cared about the most have moved on. I tried to, too, but the transition wasn't easy. The support to English language learning students at my elementary school was minimal. Some new friends grew tired of slowly and continually repeating themselves. Other new friends were really controlling and were toxic to be around. It hurts when I'm always the one left, waiting for the teacher to say, "Who doesn't have a partner yet?" At 10 years old, when I was supposed to be carefree and joking, I had no one to talk to. I tried my best to make new friends, but the attempt didn't make me feel any less isolated. There were nights where I cried about wanting to go back to where I belonged, but I can't imagine it now. I am free here. I don't miss the traditional ideologies that China embodies. They are like an outdated joke, tirelessly told over and over. Persistent social injustices, oppressive and corrupted political ideals, the relentless and uncompassionate education system breaks my heart. I wish China was better. I wish Chinese society would focus on people as we are, rather than the humans desperately trying to fit into unattainable community standards. Beep, 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 beep. Red light flashes. I don't belong to China anymore. I don't think my grown body will fit back into the blue and white porcelain that birthed me. I am a powerless stranger, a child looking from afar, thinking that I'm better off. Identity, belonging, away with place it goes. Away with time it goes. Away with home it goes.
Skip school to protest. Skip meals to prove points. Skip rocks just to throw something. Skip waiting and take action. Protest.
About to take over the world. 2019. Feel it when the beat start bumping. Face sweat when the bass go dump. So fly when you talk the talk, but you walk around looking ridiculous. No, you can't stop us, no matter how hard you knock us down. Pick it up, listen off the ground, cause we falling in line when we hear that sound. We going crazy, y'all Gen X call us lazy. Your bullshit doesn't faze me. I know I'm blazing. You light up the sky, then light up the world. Say you don't care if my future hurts, but yo, I'm just trying to save the world, man. I'm just trying to save the world. So now you're telling me I'm deny you, and saying nothing good ever comes free. And then you're leaving all the cleanup to me. Say the cleanup to me. I ain't no Superman. No more what I got, won't you take it from me? We got some work to be done in our society. Can't do it alone, can't do it for free. But together we got a responsibility. Go stupid, so numb, blowing up, showing off where I'm from. Keep the bag, dirty money ain't no fun. I ain't sticking around for your little hit and run, no. Y'all ignorant, losing your head, indifferent. Another day, spending all your people while you're trying to make the bread. You've been sleeping, now it's time to make your bed. So now you're telling me I'm to deny you, and saying nothing good ever comes through. And then you're leaving all the cleanup to me. Say the cleanup to me. I ain't no Superman. No more what I got, won't you take it from me? We got some work to be done in our society. Can't do it alone, can't do it for free. But together we got a responsibility. Say no more what I got, won't you take it from me? We got some work to be done in our society. Can't do it alone, can't do it for free. But together we got a responsibility. So now you're telling me I'm to deny you, and saying nothing good ever comes free. And then you're leaving all the cleanup to me. Say the cleanup to me. I ain't no Superman, no. If you want what I got, won't you take it from me? We got some work to be done in our society. Can't do it alone, can't do it for free. But together we got a responsibility. If you want what I got, won't you take it from me? We got some work to be done in our society. Can't do it alone, can't do it for free. But together we got a responsibility. Superman, no.
I constantly surround myself with people, never straying far from the unit. If I'm alone, I'm reminded of how empty I am. They try to label your sickness. I wouldn't call it depression, just that I'm sad. Sometimes. PTSD, shell shock, guilt. People don't notice it because they all have their own problems. Life gets in the way of life. The distractions keep my mind busy. If you're too worried about the future, then you'll miss the present. Thinking that if you just follow orders, then everything will be fine. But you've lost sight of yourself. And you only see what they have made. Who am I? And what do I want? Role models aren't the answer. And every day, school just gets scarier with everyone talking about scholarships and applications.
Applications!
Sticks and stones can break my bones, but words no longer hurt me. is about kissing slowly until the end. Protest against war accomplishes nothing. This me is just a reflection of other people in my life.
Reflection.
Finally, a place where I can relax. Lately, my house doesn't even feel like a home, with my parents constantly questioning me about my future.
Questioning.
Are you living your life? Or are you just following the path laid by elders? As long as I continue doing what I love, I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Disregarding my own health and wellness to act as another expendable pawn. I just blend into the crowd, my opinion unseen and unheard.
Crowd.
The screams and echoes of laughter fill the empty air. So often, the wounds of war, bombs and bullets takes a toll on you. And we're all okay. Until the day we're not. We bonded over how stupid everything sounded. And now when we're together, we sound stupid. I've been modeling myself after others for so long that I don't know who I am anymore. Society expects me to function like everyone else. But what if I don't want to?
If you don't fight for what you want, then who will?
You could be unreal, so why should I care about your opinion?
Alex the lion from Madagascar isn't real. Real.
It's sunny outside, yet it's so gloomy.
Die. People all grow up to die.
As chances of survival go down, teen suicide rates go up. We aren't apathetic. We're terrified. Terrified. Terrified.
This is a piece written by the lovely Carmina Chang. When I try to change, it hurts my heart. Trying to fit in, trying to find a place, any place where I can belong. I was never very good at making new friends. However, I did have the same friends throughout elementary school. We drifted apart, and I began to feel left out. The new friends I made in grade 7 were popular girls. I thought they treated me kindly, but when I spoke to other students, they told me that my best friends were really mean and rude. I had a friend who was a part of a group of popular mean girls. She told me I was really compassionate, but I don't think I am. I think and do things that I shouldn't. I'm actually a selfish, spoiled brat, and I wish I was kinder. My favorite manga at the time was Tsubasa. It was written by a group of women called Clamp. It's about Princess Sakura, whose feathers scatter across the dimensions, and if she doesn't get them back, she will die. The feathers carried her memories. The princess's childhood friend, Sauron, decides to go on a series of adventures to get the feathers back. In order to cross dimensions, he has to give a witch his most prized possession. He gives up the princess's memory of him. Sauron was strong, physically and mentally. He was selfless. I wanted to be like him, but instead, I was more like a feather, drifting off alone. I began to feel very lonely in high school, where I had no close friends at all. When I first arrived in high school, everyone was very welcoming, and I made 2 new friends. However, I discovered all these things about one friend that upset me. I believed everything she said, but then found out that she was a chronic liar in order to get attention. My other new friend was really negative and often resorted to cruel gossip. I have not traveled outside the greater Vancouver area that much, but was surprised to learn that people who live here feel like it is the loneliest city in the world. I wonder why we're not friendlier, and what's stopping us from showing kindness. If you feel sad, there is always a reason. But I used to believe that I did not deserve to feel the empty sadness I was coping with. Because I had a roof over my head, enough food, wasn't being abused, and was never diagnosed with any sort of mental illness. I thought I was whole. I felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. In my high school, mental health workers came regularly to give students presentations about depression. They gave us specialized quizzes to see if any of the students were living with depression. These workers all described it the same way. Someone with depression can't take care of themselves properly, loses all interest in extracurricular activities, and doesn't do well in school. They even cut themselves. But I never experienced any of that. Even though I was never diagnosed, I think that I may have had a functioning depression. I felt so isolated, not wanted or needed, that it grew to the point where I became numb. It's like I didn't notice how depressed I was. I would always tell myself that if I died, no one would miss me because no one cared about me, so there was no point in being alive. And then I met Lucy and Bettina, 2 girls at my school, when I joined the basketball and volleyball club. Both girls were so nice and different from the friends that I had in the past. Gradually, I started to think of them as friends, and not just acquaintances. It was then that I thought that if I died, maybe they would miss me. At least a little. Today, I am more confident. I have grown. And maybe I'm a little closer to those heroes that I used to admire.
Universe. Nothing matters, and we're all going to die in the eyes of a non-sentient, uncaring universe. And I love you.
Moving to a country can be fun or really depressing.
Amidst my crumbling universe, I shine.
You took these words, put them in my head, and it left me lonely. Never enough, I can hear them now, can't feed the hunger. And I've been so empty for a while now. This house ain't no home, it's all crying out. Tell me what we got, what are we thinking of? We're broken and full of doubt. Just for a moment, it felt so right. I could taste the warmth in the sunlight. I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. Like I'm hopeless and broken down. Still I'm searching, the night's got bright out. Looking to you, 'cause all I know is around me, hiding, dying, playing. It's something new, I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. I hit the wall and I tore it down, been going somewhere. No stopping now, I can hear the sounds, can feel the thunder. And I've been so empty for a while now. This house ain't no home, so I'm crying out. Tell me what we got, what are we thinking of? We're broken and full of doubt. I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. Like I'm hopeless and broken down. Still I'm searching, the night's got bright out. Looking to you, 'cause all I know is around me, fighting, rebelling, playing. There's something new, I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. Like I'm hopeless and broken down. Still I'm searching, the night's got bright out. Looking to you, 'cause all I know is around me, fighting, rebelling, playing. There's something new, I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge.
Anxiety is like heart disease. You know you have it, but you never know when it's going to attack.
If I'm at an all-time low, then how much further am I to the grave? How do I fight anxiety when all I practice is self-love? Dear Father, I write to you because you won't listen to me, and I can't take it anymore. I've been dealing with anxiety since I was 16. As your son, if I knew that you were dealing with the same mental health issues that I am currently coping with right now, it would have given us both a deeper understanding of each other. The White Knight rides on. He fights for those he loves, never for himself. Swinging his sword as he rushes headlong into danger. Fearless of the abyss, the White Knight fights on. But for how long before his armor rusts? Battling dragons, crawling through dungeons, hacking and slashing away. The White Knight does it all for a chance at triumph. The White Knight does this not for success, but for happiness, peace, love, fulfillment, belonging. That fills his void. Father. Father, you taught me morality, ideals, and beliefs. But when it came to yourself, you thought that help was something that you never needed. But what's this? A tiny ember, almost as if accurately thrown, sparks its way into the White Knight's armor. Chaos! Panic! Unrest! But the White Knight must go on. This land is your land. This land is my land. I am no longer bound by the chains of my motherland. Father, I've learnt in battle, we need to know when we can ask for support. The man who raised me is still there. I see it every time that we talk. Your days no longer need to be lived in silence. Your youngest son feels the haunting failure when I chose not to speak to you sooner. I battle not for myself, but with myself. Mental health affects us all, like a 9-headed dragon attacking us from every angle. My father, Sunmo, you are my White Knight. But your talk of enlightenment doesn't change the fact that you are just a man. Men don't want to talk about mental health because it's perceived as frailty. But to be vulnerable is our greatest strength. I hope you are not too far gone to hear this, Father. I pray that it is not too late. Sincerely, your son, your White Knight, Arjun. P.S. I love you.
Break. We talk about societal standards and pressure, like it's something that we could ever break free from.
Surface. The welcoming smiles only exist on the surface.
Cry. Maybe a smile can clear the sky, but when the rainstorms come, you will not hear me cry.
You took these words, them in my head, and it left me lonely. Never enough, I can't hear them now, can't feed the hunger. And I've been so empty for a while now. This house ain't no home, and so I'm crying out. Tell me what we got, what are we thinking of? We're broken and full of doubt. But just for a moment, oh, it felt so right. I could taste the warmth in the sunlight. I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. Life in the abyss and broken down. Still I'm searching, the nights get brighter. Looking to you, 'cause all I know is running, fighting the devil, playing for something new. I think I figured it out now, and I'm fighting for my refuge. I hit the wall and I tore it down. Been going somewhere. No stopping now, I can hear the sound, can feel the thunder. And I've been so empty for a while now. This house ain't no home, and so I'm crying out. Tell me what we got, what are we thinking of? We're broken